Uh, okay, lots to review. Great battle. Kids fought extremely hard. Very proud of that. That being said, as a football team, we didn't win, so to say there's no moral victories is an easy way to put it, but it's a lot worse than that. It's a lot deeper than that. I think that there's a part of me on that field that'll be there forever. I know that much. So that was as difficult a loss as I've ever been around. I've been through some great victories. I've been through some difficult losses, and today that tops it. Now we'll see. The question is, where do we go from here? There's things to learn. There's a lot of positives. We controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football in the run game, which is great to do against a quality opponent. We ran the ball extremely well. We stopped the run extremely well. Defensively, if you look at the other bright spots, we were good on third down. We were bad against the big play. They got 5 big plays. The bottom line is when the ball got in space against tremendous athletes, which we knew Auburn had, it was very, very tough for us to catch them, and a couple, 3 times we did not catch them. But I thought the overall effort was good. Our pass rush against a very talented offensive line. It was young, but say what you want. It's the best-looking offensive line I've ever seen in my life. So, and that includes some very good teams I've played in the past. So they look the part. How they do down the road, I guess we'll see. But they're a talented group of kids. But we do need to get better in rushing the passer. We ended up with 2 sacks, and we needed a couple more. We didn't get the turnovers that we wanted, obviously. If you look at the offensive side, they did a tremendous job. I thought from snap 1 all the way through, we took some chances, 3 times, 4th downs, got 2 of the first downs with the offense, got the other one with the fake field goal. So we knew we had to do that going into that environment. We knew we were going to have to score points, and I just thought the offense controlled the football in a very, very violent physical nature, which is tremendous for us to see. I thought Chucky Keaton was fantastic for a first-time start as a true freshman. We felt he was the guy that could go in and do it, but there's always questions with the freshman, especially a brand-new freshman walking into that environment. And we all know how he played. He played very, very well, and look forward to having him do that many more times in his career. So, special teams wise, we punted the ball pretty well with the brand new punter. I thought he did a nice job. Josh Thompson did exactly what he's supposed to do. He made the field goal. He made all his extra points. The snaps were adequate, not great, but I think they'll be better. And so, but other than that, on special teams, punt return, and we got a return the one time for pretty good yardage, which is a major point of emphasis for us. We caught the ball and got up the field for 10 yards, and that's definitely a step in the direction, especially going against those guys that Auburn has running down there. They're hard to deal with. Obviously, our kickoff team was very poor, and overall we had a hard time covering the field and getting down on top of them before they got on top of us, and created space for very talented young men to return the football. So that was a negative. And the onside kick, there's a million things you can talk about and go back and forth and this and that. They executed at a very high level with the kick. I don't know if you would have dropped it from the sky on the perfect spot if it could have been any better. It was very well executed by Auburn, and the kid deserves to be commended for the effort of putting that kick in that spot, and we were unable to be able to make a play, and we had our chances after that on defense and couldn't get it done. So some things we can learn from it. We will as a football team. Challenge them this morning. We usually have a team meeting in the morning, and we went out on the football field today and talked about it as a staff, and I felt like the best thing was to get the team out, put them out on their field, let them understand how close they are to having that logo become known across the nation as a quality football program, and that is a driving force for myself, for the football team, for Cache Valley, for Utah State. It matters, and it matters a lot that people starting to recognize us, but we have to recognize that with wins. So that was a little bit of our team meeting today, and it is important to these kids. It's everything. It's everything to me. at the end of the day. It's to get this thing where it needs to be, and very excited about the next game, very excited to get back out on the field, very excited about this football team in general speaking terms. So we'll see if we can take the next step, but how we back it up is the key right now. But it was a hard defeat.
Coach, not to have to expound on it too long, the onside kick, when you went back and looked at it, what did your alignment or what did your guys do? Did people miss an assignment? Did you have guys there to get the ball when you looked at that? I mean, some of the people said they saw the replay after it looked like we had a guy there that had a chance and didn't really fight for it or whatever. What's your feeling?
Yeah, it's easy to say and have comments and exactly how you're supposed to do it. If you know anything about an onside kick, which people that want to comment on it don't, they have no clue. You're outmanned by one, regardless of how you scope the field. So if they're going to have one more than you on that side, and they potentially have one more than you on that side. When they line up with two kickers, it unbalances the field, period. So they've got an extra person. Now, your ability to define in a very quick moment when the ball bounces and skips and pops up in the air, and now you have to take your eye from a football that might have been coming right at you in 10 yards, and you've got to fall on that football and recover that ball. Is it coming too hot? Is it going to be a sweet hop? What kind of bounce am I going to get? It's my job to be able to get on this thing and win the game, or do I let it go through? But in that instant, now, when the ball skips and gets up in the air the way it did on that kick, you got to completely shift gears. And now you got to take your eyeballs from that kicker on that ball right over to number 1, 2, 3, and 4, who are running straight at you as fast as they can, and they've got a 10-yard run at you, and make a decision in that fast to be able to get onto the right guy. Who is the right guy? They've got one more than we've got, and it's real simple to sit back and say, well, take the first guy. Okay, that's easy. So strap up the cleats, and we'll put you out on the practice field and let you make that decision and see where it goes. So did we execute it correctly? No, because we didn't get the ball back, but they executed it perfectly. They had an opportunity to make a play. They did. We did not. The young man that was in spot to be able to go get the ball, again, I go back to it. You think he can sit up and look up in the air, 30 yards up into the air or 20 yards up in the air, and know that there's a guy barreling down on him, and that guy's running this way to catch a fair catch like this, running at him, and he knows where the ball is? He has no clue. So, you can, don't put that on the kids. If you do, then, I question you as a person. So, period. That's enough. That's all I got to say about it.
The kickoff cover team shortcomings you talked about, is it correctable?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and there will be, from a personnel standpoint, I think we will try to tweak it and get the best young men out there as we go. You go back and again you study the opponent that you're playing, and when you've got 300 and some odd days to get ready for them, you make a lot of phone calls, and it was made very clear to me on many phone calls that the difference in the SEC is the speed. And when I talk speed, I'm talking the 18-year-olds that are in the program, the 17-year-olds all the way through to the seniors that are in the program. They're fast, and it's very, very difficult to prepare for that speed, if you will, when we're doing what we do in practice. We can't strap rocket ships to the back of our guys that run down on kickoff scout on the scout team, and it's impossible. So they executed very well, and I think that can we fix it? Yeah, we can fix a few things, and we can tweak a thing here and there. But again, they are very, very talented, and I know Jay Bolar very well. I worked with him at Utah, the special teams coordinator at Auburn, and he thinks that they're pretty special on special teams, and they were on that day. So for sure.
Was part of the problem in the kickoffs got to the end zone?
Yeah. Some guys can kick it to the end zone, some guys can't. Their guy apparently can kick field goals from the other 30-yard line. So he's got an unbelievably strong leg, and to be able to do that is special. I don't care what kind of leg it is. But you watch college football, and I don't know, 20% of the balls are going back and not being returned. So you're going to return some balls. And to say that there's enough kickers in this country to go out there and have everybody kick the ball, 8-7 yards deep every single time, no, that's not happening. So would we like that? Yeah, we'd love to have a kicker that could kick it out of the stadium every time and start on the 20. But I think Jake can get better. That's our goal, is to kick it as deep and as hard as we can. But it didn't happen. We'll see when we get back into the mountain air and how he handles as we progress. But you got to cover kickoffs. At the end of the day, you got to be able to cover some kickoffs and tackle some guys.
With Chucky, could you talk about just when you knew he was your guy in training camp and how it came along?
Well, we believed he was our guy probably, not till about 8 days before kickoff. It was really not until that last weekend where we felt like he didn't hit a wall, which was important. As we went through camp, we kind of sat back and waited for Chucky to plateau, if you will. Maybe it was because of the scheme, it was because of the changed environment. There's a number of things that you look at, and especially at his position, to see how he handles it. Never phased, not one time, not even quivered. And one of the big sayings we say on this football team this year is don't flinch no matter what happens. And Chucky hasn't flinched. He hasn't flinched since the first day he walked on this campus, and he's done a tremendous job. So, that was really the defining factor, the defining moment as we went through camp when he went through 90-80% of camp and was still just cruising along, whether he had a good day or a bad day.
You said that you would likely play two guys on Saturday. Did you not play Adam because Chucky was just playing so well? You just had to go
14-7 against Auburn. I'd say you probably sit right where you're at and played the quarterback that was played, especially with the way he was playing. The plan was to play two quarterbacks, but the game obviously dictated that to be different, and you can't argue with the success that Chucky Keaton had in that football game. So that's why we did not play Adam Kennedy.
You gave him the ball on the 4th and goal. He carried it for the other touchdown. I mean, you gave him lots of responsibilities too in the game to have to come through, rather than you're always talking about just managing the game.
Yeah.
You made him make plays too.
Yeah, he and the options, there was a couple of times on the 4th down, the one he may have been able to pitch, and more so than us putting the ball in his hands at that point, that's Chucky Keaton putting the ball in his own hands. So he looks at it and says, away we go, and pretty impressive when you're a freshman doing that, looking over at 90,000 people and the defending national champions and say, I got this thing. So he pretty much made those decisions on the option to be able to keep it. That's obviously his mindset, and he felt like he could outrun a SAC safety for a touchdown on 4th and 5, and he did. So pretty impressive.
In the future, do you feel like you'll play Kennedy, or is it just Chucky now?
Right now it's Chucky. Yeah, he's our starting quarterback, and with what he did, and if Adam gets the opportunity to come in a game in certain situations, but that's college football, and that's where it sits. And right now, after one game, we have a freshman quarterback who did a tremendous job in one football game, but he's our starting quarterback.
Does it get a little bit more difficult for him from here on out, knowing that now the teams have a chance to look at him and scheme for him a little bit?
No. If he plays like that, it will make it more difficult for everybody else to have to deal with him. If the offense plays like that, you got to look at what Chucky really did at the end. I mean, we say that he managed the game. He threw bubble screens, he threw tunnel screens, he got the ball out in space to people very quickly, allowed our wide receivers to be able to get in the way and block people. The running backs ran very, very well, and the offensive line performed at a high level when we were in our play-action game and we were moving things around. And so, game manager with some athleticism, and you saw him get out of there. One time, they run off the edge, crystal clear, clean, and Chucky flips around and runs for a first down. The other time in the red zone, he does the same thing. There's nothing there. They cover the thing up very, very well, and he's able to break out there for a first down. So he's going to be a good quarterback that you're going to have to sit back and deal with because of his athleticism, and do people turn around and see what you're doing scheme wise, and who knows, but we'll also change. We walked into Auburn knowing dang well that you line up and we're going to block that guy on the edge of the defense who's probably a first-round draft pick. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard for us to sit out there and do that, so why do it? And that's why we wanted to see if we could run the ball inside and be physical, and we were able to do that, and that opened up some things in the offense. So, Dave Baldwin, the offensive staff, did a tremendous job.
Was that the best offensive line game you've had here at Utah State as far as pushing people around and stuff?
That's what
That's what you wanted?
that's what I would, I would say that, and the information that's come back to me from the people that we played on that day, they would also reflect that, and the people that have watched that tape and as they prepare to play Auburn next week reflect that as a dominant force in that football game was the Utah State's offensive line ability to be able to play for 4 quarters against an SEC defensive front. So that was good. It's a good start. And that's like I say about Chucky and the offensive line. It's a great job. It's one game, and we got to keep going.
In the passing game, do you see yourself getting vertical a little bit more?
Yeah. When we can get past the guy that we have a chance to get past, yes. And we'll see how we can stretch the field vertically as time moves on. And we got down there a few times, 3rd and 20. Chucky converts it to Xavier Martin. It's a nice job. Stanley hit the seam, got himself moving down the field pretty good on that one. So we'll see how time goes and how we progress. But I think we will have the ability to throw the ball down the field when we need to. But I think you're going to see us be a powerful football team initially and want to be able to run the football. It's an identity that we've wanted to try to get here for 2 years and really haven't established it until this game. So we'll see if it holds up.
What did you see out of A. Robert Turbin and B. Matt Austin in their first games back? And both Stanley in there as well.
Yeah, both played well. Well, all 3 played well if you talk about all 3 of them. Again, it's just Robert Turbin, he's really been healthy since spring. He's been back, ready to go. I thought Robert got his feet wet in camp, and I expect big things out of him. And the big explosive play didn't really come from Robert in that game. The opportunity didn't present itself, but he got the yardage when he needed to. I thought he stuck it in there hard. He blocked very well, and kind of let the offense come to him on that day. His big moments will come. I really believe that. Matt Austin was very productive. Caught the ball when we threw it to him, got big first downs, made big catches, just like we know Matt can do from practice. It hasn't happened a lot in games because he hasn't played a lot of games for us, but that's who Matt Austin is. Very good hands, good route runner, physical. He's not going to run away from people, but he'll get open if the ball's near. He's going to catch the contested ball, so happy with him. And great to see Stanley out there, Stanley making plays. I think Stanley really gained some confidence when he got whacked around a couple times. One time he got caught up and twisted pretty good, and a brutal face mask, but they ended up calling it, so that's a good thing. But I think that was probably a good shot for Stanley to take and let him get up and realize that, hey, I'm okay, and away I go. So those 2 young men, Matt Austin, Stanley Morrison, I put Michael Smith on top of that. To see them out there in that environment was awesome because nobody thought they could do it. And they've defied the odds to get out there, and I hope it lasts for 12 games, and I hope it lasts to the bowl game and continues on. But those 3 young men have defied odds, and it'll help them for the rest of their lives, and it'll help some other kids on our team for the rest of their lives.
I don't remember a lot of drop passes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 1, 2.
I think we had 2. Yeah, if we look back at it, a couple of days, we caught the ball well. Yeah. Wide receivers caught the ball well. I think we had 1 drop at the tight end spot and 1 drop at the wide receiver spot, if I remember right. But they did. They made plays when they had to, and very, very, very impressed with the way they blocked. I thought they did a nice job of locking up on some very talented football players.
How much, what went wrong in the secondary? That looked like weakness. How much was that actually on the secondary versus the pass rush?
It's always going to be on the defense in general speaking terms. Overall, the big play, the first big play, we had a blown coverage. So I'm not going to say that's on the secondary. It's on me. I obviously didn't do a good enough job of letting him understand where he's supposed to be or how he's supposed to be there. It's a simple coverage. We probably run it, a lot. But we didn't run it good on that snap. So we should have been there, and ultimately it's my fault for not having him in the position to be able to understand his job description well enough. And that was the one big play, their first touchdown. The 3rd and 15, you can say a lot of things about it, and we can learn from it, but I'm not going to get into the what the offense did or how the offense did this or whatever the situation is. The bottom line is we had a chance to execute and get out of a 3rd and 15 down there and put them in a 4th and 15, and we didn't. And we let the tight end run free on a wheel route. And it's a couple of young players back there that'll. But again, it's not a young player's fault. It's not an old player's fault if we don't execute in that spot. And that one was not a missed assignment. It was, put it this way, a veteran doing a nice job for Auburn that put him in a position to be able to make a play, and hopefully we can learn from that.
On this game this week, don't you think Weber State comes into this game with almost the same exact feeling you guys do, that they won the game and should have won the game and outplayed their opponent and have got running backs galore and receivers, a quarterback who could run and pass? I mean, isn't it a very similar deal that way?
Yeah, it is. I'm sure that they all feel, everyone in that program, I'm sure they feel like they should have won the game and beat a Mountain West school. That they had a lot of opportunities to be able to get that done. And you watch them on tape; they're physical. They run well, and we're excited to take care of the Aggies. Is what we're excited about, is getting back on the practice field right now. But regardless of who we're playing in the next game, we'll be ready.
Their quarterback was productive like Chucky was.
He was.
Sounds like it ran and threw the ball.
Yep, threw the ball well. I thought he did a nice job, and their offensive line was very productive the way they ran the ball consistently. From the first snap to the end of the game, they ran the ball with a physical presence and controlled the line of scrimmage. Their tight ends did a nice job of blocking. Their wide receivers made plays, made people miss. They caught some contested balls that were Wyoming kids were right on top of, and Weaver was able to catch a contested ball and then turn it into a big play for them. So, overall, it's a great challenge for us as a football program, and in my opinion, Weber State made a statement for themselves of the kind of football team that they are this year by the way they played against a Mountain West Conference school. And that's not a football team either that's going to sit back and say, "Oh yeah, it was great to just be there and be close." That's I know the head coach just a little bit, and that's not his mindset. So neither will his team feel that way.
How can a guy who's, 71 years old, continue to put out good football, competitive teams?
Don't ask me, because I'm not doing it. I promise you that much. So it's probably because his wife wouldn't let him in the house if he came home every day. So that's probably the easiest way. I don't think Vicky would let him in the house consistently. But he has a great passion, and I learned so many things from Mac when he was my position coach, and then I worked for him. And he wants to be around kids, and I talk about it all the time of how long can you turn around and do this. But the love I have for kids, the passion I have for kids, and the want to, and I don't know how I'm ever going to let go of it either. And Mac can't let go of it himself, and because for him it's not about wins and losses. It really isn't. It's about every year he looks at another senior class coming up, and he looks at the kids he recruits, and he looks at the opportunity to really change lives. And I learned that from him, and that's my deep core belief, and that's my belief of why Coach McBride's still coaching. Not for the practices, not for the wins and losses, but for the kids. And that's why I think good coaches, that's who a good coach is deep inside.
Don't you think that's why this offensive line is like they are, because of him?
Sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their best part of their team.
Yeah.
I say.
Yeah, they're physical kids, and he's not the easiest guy in America to play for now. I promise you that much. So I don't know if he's simmered down at all, but I doubt it. So he wasn't the easiest guy in the world to coach for either. So those offensive linemen are going to play hard, and he's going to put a high emphasis on that. There's no question about it. Anything else? Okay, guys.